I was actually in the making of doing my goals this year. And I always try to do my goals a little earlier throughout the end of the year. There's a broker shop and they're actually part of the academy. They're not on this call because I gave them work to do right now. They're actually on the phone. But hopefully they'll watch us and they'll know exactly who I'm talking about. But this shop was struggling and they called me like 2 weeks ago, literally on the verge of closing their doors. They went from 50 people in this shop to about 15 people. And it's crazy because when I went in there, they're working credit triggers. You know, I know a lot of you guys are doing credit triggers as well. There was a couple of things that I realized, and I feel like the same exact things that I do in my business or for an insurance company or for a solar panel company is the same exact things for a broker company and a mortgage company. It always aligns like that. And the crazy thing is I was going over with them today. I went to their office and I was talking about the laws of success, you know, what it takes to be a successful broker, what it takes to be a successful business owner. And what I realized was it's a lot of the same exact stuff that I talk about to do with the clients is the same exact stuff that I ask to do for yourself when it comes to goals. And I just connected those two dots together. And I'm going to show you guys a little bit about what I mean. So I mean, there's a couple of different ways to look at goals, right? I asked some people in the academy. Some people are like, you know, I live day by day, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I believe if you truly want to keep raising the bar and going to the next level, you have to know where you're at and you have to be able to raise that bar and look somewhere, right? So hopefully, has anybody made their goals yet for 2023? Are we the first on this thing together? It sounds like that's good. I want to get you guys first. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys. I'm going to go through a quick presentation that I made about making your goals and how to prime your mind for success. All right. So I said the secret to success and sales is the same. So just keep that in the back of your mind and we're going to get there. What I told the brokers was essentially the first thing I changed was their scheduling. Okay. They were working 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. So I told them the same thing I told a lot of you guys. In sales, it's all about the times you call people, right? If you're a debt collector, there's a reason why debt collectors study the times people answer. They study the days people answer. They work more on some days and less on other days. There's a science behind pickup time. Same exact thing with social media these days. You know, there's times to post on social media, depending on which country you're from, which state you're from. There's different algorithms for when people are online. And all that stuff is measured these days and all that stuff is important. So the first thing I did was change your scheduling. Second thing I did was the work ethic, right? There shouldn't be a reason for somebody to have high effort up here and another person to have low effort down here. So I said, we got to make some standards, right? If every single day the effort report comes out, there should be no reason for anybody to be in red. So, all right, we got their schedule down. They're working 8 to 8, some of them early, some of them late, but we're covering the busy hours. We got them in on the weekend. They've never been on the weekend. We got them putting in effort. So they're not playing ping pong and playing on TikTok anymore. They're dialing all day long, working their asses off. And then the fourth thing we did was work on the script. Now, when I talk about the script, there's really two main things that we do in the script. Besides a fast introduction and gaining the attention, the rest of a sales script is really what? It's two things. Who wants to guess what those two things are? Besides a fast introduction, what are two main things that we got to do on a phone call with a client interaction as a professional salesperson, right? What would you guys guess? Anyone out there?
Build rapport.
Build rapport. Build rapport to do what? Trust, rapport. Connect with them, right? Emotionally, right? Connect to the emotion. We talk about priming the mind a lot. I know a lot of you guys heard me talk about Las Vegas and slot machines. I always tell people, like on a phone call, I mentioned today 7, 8, 9, 10 times. Hey, Era, man, you know, after I get this done for you today and I'm able to save you money and get you cash, this is going to be the last time you're going to have to pay 8 credit card bills. I can promise you that. Pivot, right? Or later in the call, hey, Aram, man, in case I get you qualified, I'm going to need your W-2 and pay stub. Later in the call, hey, Aram, after we get this done for you and we save you money, what's the first thing you're going to do? So I call all of that on a phone call priming your mind, right? You're priming the client's mind for success. The same way in Las Vegas, the slot machines are everywhere to prime your mind to play slots. I want to prime my client's mind that, hey, we're going to get this done for you. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to work out well. Because if their mind's in that same place, you're good to go. Same thing with the ice bath. If I just throw RJ in an ice bath, surprise him, he turns around, he falls in an ice bath, the guy's going to be in complete shock. Even though you're always in shock when you go in an ice bath, there's a different level to that shock. But if me and RJ sit down for 5 days in a row and I said, yo, This is what you have to do when you go in. This is a breathing technique. This is what it does for you. On Friday, this is the time you're going in. And then I dip him in on Friday. He's more prepared for it. His body will take the shock better. As a matter of fact, he's probably already used to being cold before even getting in because he's mentally prepared for it, right? So I say that to you guys because it's funny. When I talk about goals, I think it's the same exact thing I do to myself. And I realized it yesterday. When I was reading my goals in my letter, I'm like, I'm priming my own mind to be successful. And then what's the last thing or another thing we talk about on the phone? Objections, right? We talk a lot about squashing objection. I have a bunch of sayings for it, right? I call it, squashing moles, whack-a-mole game. You got to hit all the moles in the phone call. Don't run away from it. I call it the 8-mile play. When B Rabbit, Eminem, raps about himself and throws the microphone. I call it a back massage sometimes, and I say the knots are objections. You got to get them out of the way. And then when I thought about my goals, I said, I'm doing the same exact thing in my goals. I'm getting rid of the knots and the objections, which are the flaws in my life, and I'm addressing them in my goals as if they're not flaws. So I thought it was funny that the same exact tactics I use on the phone, I'm going to be using with you guys today when we talk about your goals and priming your mind in 2023 to be an absolute maniac for what you want. Now, this method and technique, I've been doing it for a couple of years. People could think it's silly and don't believe in it, but the funny thing is the millionaires and billionaires still do this thing. The Grant Cardones, the Mark Cubans, Tony Robbins, there's a reason why they start their days off with gratitude. They read their goals in the morning, in the night. They keep them in front of them. It does something for your subconscious, right? So let's get straight into it. Welcome to 2024. I'm not talking about 2023. I want you to think about 2024 right now. A lot of people, when they write goals for themselves, they say, what do I want to accomplish in 2023? And they start writing it. What I do is I reverse engineer it and say, how do I want my life to look in 2024? What's already happened in 2023? It's a complete different switch in your mind when you take it like that. And guess who I learned it from? I learned it from the CEOs and the presidents at Rocket Mortgage. We went to an offsite one time in Cleveland. And some of the most powerful leaders made us write a letter to ourselves. And this letter was a little different. This letter was yourself right now to yourself 5 years ago. So it's like me writing a letter to myself in 2017. And what that letter did was it made us talk to ourselves about everything we were struggling with in 2017 and talking about how you made it through different things. And some of them got very vulnerable and talked about divorces. And some of them talked about deaths that they went through. And some of them talked about, personal health issues. And all these things came out in this letter. And 80% of them were tearing throughout this letter because it's just amazing when you look back 5 years to what you thought your life was going to be. And then to think about it 5 years later and write a letter to yourself, it just wakes you up and it opens your eyes to a lot of things. So what I did is a little different. I'm doing it my 2024 self to my 2023 self. So it has a little bit of both. It has a little bit of the vulnerability and the objections, which are the knots and the flaws in my life right now. It has some of that in there. But then it also has the affirmation and the slot machines. The things that I want to be able to say to myself in 2024 is going to be included inside of this letter. 2023, I think it's a special year. Michael Jordan, I think Michael Jordan in 23, I think it's a special year to do special things. I truly believe it's going to be a very powerful year. Number one, when things like this happen in the market, the only people that get scared are the weak and the average people. The successful people and the hungry people that have made it before in times like this, or that have strength and that have confidence in themselves, don't get scared in this time because the lazy people get filtered out. So if you have skill and you have grit and you have ethic, you're more wanted in this kind of market because there's not a lot of you out there. There's a reason why McDonald's is offering $20 an hour, right? There's a reason why Starbucks, Tim Hortons, everywhere you go, it's help wanted, right? It's hard to find good people and good work these days. And when it comes to this industry, last week on the call, we had somebody that was, you could tell they had a lot of fear in their voice. They were worried about what's going to happen and what if I get fired. And I told this individual something, if you're on the call last week, I said, look, if you get fired, you get fired. I mean, if you trust in yourself, it doesn't matter to me if I get fired or if I quit or if the company shuts down, God forbid, because I have strength in myself. I could sell solar panels. I could sell life insurance. I could sell Girl Scout cookies door to door if I had to, right? I could sell whatever I have to sell because if I believe in something and I put my strength and my ability in it, I already know I'm going to provide value there. So you shouldn't be scared of those things. So these are the 4 keys in 2023 that I think make you a successful individual. And your keys might be different, but this is what I've come up with as far as your morning ritual and just small, easy things that everybody on this call could do. And the first thing is your morning ritual, your habits, and your schedule. I think all three of those things connect because your morning ritual does become a habit. Instead of thinking about what you're gonna do, like the two guys I'm working with at this broker shop that was, close to shutting down, I didn't have to say like, they're not the same personality as me, right? They're different kind of leaders, and that's okay because I didn't have to trust in their ability to lead or their skill or the way they could sell. All I have to trust, I told them, if I give you a schedule, could you honor it? Meaning, I don't care who you are. If you come to my team and I simply give you this planner and I break your day down hour by hour, could you just execute on the plays? And if you could execute on the plays, I'll make you successful. I'll give you the action, just do the actions, right? Everything else will come with time. And I think it's the same exact thing for your success. You know what actions you have to take next year to hit your goals. Break it down into a schedule and make it a habit and a ritual. So the first thing I think of is your morning ritual. I mean, hands down, the thing that changed my life the most, and I've been through a lot of crazy things and a lot of great experiences, it's still the morning ritual in the miracle morning. Waking up at 5, 6 in the morning, working out, meditating, reading, doing a cold bath, scheduling my day, having my coffee, like being 2-3 hours ahead of 80-90% of the population, like that just does something to you, right? By 9 a.m. you're a different breed than someone that just woke up at 8:30. So to me, that's one of the most important things. For you, that could be different, but ask yourself, what's that one thing to give you a turbo start, and could you commit to it in 2023? Number 2, the habits, right? I'm reading a book called, it's funny, I'm on the last chapter, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. Some of you might have read that book. Maybe RJ did. I see you wave.
Yeah, Joe Dispenza. Good stuff.
Yeah, good stuff. There's something in there that's resonated with me. There's a meditation at the end that they have you do, and it says, think about the things that you haven't been able to change about yourself, and think about the way you feel when you do those things, and think about yourself in those situations, and then think about your new self and the way you'll feel without those things, right? And then it creates a trigger word for you that says change. Anytime you feel like you're going to fall into an old action or something like an old habit that you don't want to do, you trigger your mind and you just say out loud, change. And part of the meditation, you say change to these things. And I swear to you, it's been working for like 6-7 days for a couple of habits I've been trying to break. Like eating at night, the second I go to grab something, I say change. And I think about the way I'll feel after I eat that food and how I'm going to feel in the morning. Then I think about the way I'll feel if I'm shredded and I feel good and I wake up healthy in the morning. And I connect to those emotions instead. And the change is like my trigger and I walk away from it. So the reason why I mention that is because I feel like your habits play a big role, right? If I simply throw out everything that's unhealthy in my household and keep everything that's healthy in my household, I'm going to turn into a healthy eater. It's going to be an automatic habit for me, right? So think about the habits that you could incorporate into your life in 2023. And the last thing is think about the schedule. There's another girl that, I was supposed to be doing sales training for. It turned into therapy. I'm not even a therapist. I call myself a life coach. Although she did compliment me and said I've done more for her than 6 therapists have done over the last 5 years. And one thing I did for her is I forced her to put things that she wanted to accomplish and wanted to become into her weekly plan. For example, she doesn't spend time doing her passion. So every single Sunday, I literally make her book Painting with a Twist, book a cooking class, pay for it online a week before, and fill up your calendar. You haven't seen your family? Boom, we're going to do dinner with my family on this day. And on Sunday, she has 7 days planned with good work ethic, good family time, passion, and friends. And like she's happier because she's looking forward to all of these things throughout the week. She doesn't got to think about, could I see some friends? Could I switch it up? It's already planned. She forces the actions to happen. And that's what I try to do every single Sunday. So like that's for your personal life. For your business life, you know the things that make you successful. Email campaigns, text campaigns, voicemail campaigns, being on the dialer at the right time, taking a healthy lunch, working out, like all these things should be scheduled. And then instead of thinking about how to be successful, instead it's I have a successful schedule. How do I stay consistent in that schedule? People get confused. How am I going to be successful? How am I going to hit the top? Look, it's not rocket science. We all know what to do. Write down the 4 or 5 habits that make somebody a rock star in what you're doing and put them into your schedule and do them every single day. It's hard the first day, hard the second day, 1, 2, 3 weeks later. It's a ritual. The second and third thing is goals and gratitude. If I simply write a list of things I'm grateful for in the morning, and it's one thing to write them or say them, it's another thing to feel them. You'll learn that too. Like if you literally close your eyes deep down, maybe some of you have been in dark places, some of you haven't. I've been in dark places before where I never had a pot to piss in, and I was living in family members' houses, I've been in spots before where my goal was to make $1,000 a week. And I said I would be comfortable and I'd start a family with $1,000 cash a week because that's where my mind was at. So if I really dig deep down and close my eyes and think about these things and say, I'm so grateful to be sitting at this desk, be living in my dream home, having checks that I could never imagine, being able to change people's lives, make them do bigger things than me. Some of my clients make more money than me, like being able to help and do all of this. Like I'm truly grateful for all of that. If I say all of that for a good 20, 15 minutes and I truly mean it, and I think deeply into it and I get emotional about it, do you guys think I could get on the call and say, this just hung up, or go and fight with my wife, or go do this? It's going to be very difficult after giving 15 minutes of emotional gratitude to life and everything you have to be negative right after, versus not doing that and then something negative happening and then being in a domino. And it seems like the people that are in these dominoes don't know that it's so easy to get out. It's just you have to change the first action of the day, and then that's going to connect to another action, connect to another action, and connect to another action. So I think that's important as well. And the last thing which we're going to talk about is the affirmations of writing yourself a letter. Writing yourself a letter. If you go to sleep every night looking at a picture of a Ferrari, and you wake up looking at a picture of Ferrari, and when you drive your Honda, you look at a picture of a Ferrari, and when you look at your phone, your background's a Ferrari, and when you look at your computer, your background's a Ferrari, pretty soon the Ferrari's engraved inside your soul, inside your mind. No one's going to take that Ferrari away from you. And hands down, you're going to end up getting that Ferrari because you've engraved it in your mind. When you're hustling, you know what you're hustling for. It's for the Ferrari, right? Because that's what you really want badly. And you made it a stain inside of you. And I think it's the same exact thing. I mean, with my wife, it was the same exact thing. I wanted her so bad, I engraved her in my mind. I said, I'm going to have this girl. I'm going to be married to this girl. She's going to be my wife. She's going to be the mother of my kids. And I didn't have her for 8 months. I was a little creepy. I pulled up her picture and I said, she's my wife. I showed my dad and my mom her and I said, this is my wife. What do you guys think? I didn't tell them she shafted me originally and told me she had a boyfriend. And it's crazy. Sometimes I think about that and that makes me grateful and emotional. Like, bro, I can't believe I manifested that. Just by thinking about it every day, I manifested it, right? Because my actions started aligning. I remained a top performer. I stayed on top of my health and my physique. I dressed good. I felt good because everything connected because I knew who I wanted to be, right? And I knew that that would come with who I want to be because, if you're your best self, then you attract all the best things. So that's what I think the 4 things are, okay? And if anyone has any questions as I'm going, please stop me, raise your hand, do your thing. I think this is the formula to be a successful individual. If you don't believe it or you think it's cliche, I would really push you to try it for 7 days straight. Give me 7 days of doing a morning ritual, of putting a badass schedule together, of writing down your goals and gratitude, and of reading this letter that I'm going to show you guys that we're going to make together. So we talked about the rituals and habits. What do you do to be successful? The ice bath is probably my favorite thing I've added to this thing. The ice barrel, my favorite thing I've added to this thing because the dopamine it gives you and the adrenaline it gives me, it just makes me feel like I'm ahead of the population when I do this thing. But what is it for you? Is it walking your dog? Is it reading the newspaper? Is it praying? Is it, doing yoga? Is it working out? Is it walking? Is it running? Whatever it is for you, find that thing that truly makes you happy and gives you a head start and honor it every single day. And then find the habits that you want. Instead of thinking about goals and things you want to do, what are the habits associated with the goals? Instead of saying I want to lose weight, my house is going to have nothing unhealthy in it for the whole year. Literally, January 1st, it's empty. And it's all healthy stuff. And that's all you do. And you just focus on that habit instead of losing weight. I guarantee you the habit will bring you more. Instead of saying I'm going to save $100,000, focus on the habit. Every single month, I'm putting this money into this account. I tell my accountant or my banker to lock that account, or I give it to somebody in my family. Do not let me touch this money, and that money goes directly there, and I forget about it after a couple of months. Kind of like the S&P 500. I've been putting $1,000 in the S&P 500 for over 5 years now. I literally forgot about it, and I haven't looked at it in years. I don't look at it. I want to look back one day and be a millionaire. That's what Bob Walters told me to do, one of the senior leaders at Rocket. Put the S&P 500 and in 10, 20 years, look back and be a millionaire. And I said, yes, sir. Didn't have to research nothing. I just did it. I'm going to listen to the wealthy and the wise, right? But instead of saying I want to save money and put in the S&P, I just made it a habit. So think about your goals and how you could turn those things into habits. I want to have healthy relationships with my family. Make it a habit. Every single morning, I'm going to text 5 family members and tell them, either check up on them, tell them how I feel, catch up, force something to happen. And if you do that every single morning, then what happens in 6 months after sending 5 text messages in the morning? Your network grows so much stronger. So I would force you right now to write down what are like 3, 4, 5 main goals you have. And instead of the goals, what are habits you could replace those goals with? You know, Aram, like Al Bennett, I don't know if we got any closers on here from West Cap, but he was telling me December is kind of the layoff month. And this shop that I was working with this morning, they closed 12 loans as a team last month. And just in the last 3 days, they've done over 15 submissions. They've done in 3 days more than they've done last month. We've changed a mindset over there. They don't even know or think about December right now. They just have these new tools and it's working for them. I thought I was having a horrible month. And again, my last day of work was Sunday, and I did 8 loans between Friday and Sunday. It always works like that, right? When I set my mind to it, work late nights on the weekends. It happens because, like I said, people need you the most right now. So hopefully that sparks something. Thank you, Lang. All right, so let's keep moving on this thing. We got the goals, okay? It's one thing to write down your goals. I heard Tony Marcatulio, his name was, at Rocket Mortgage. Some of you might know him. He's still at Rocket. He's older than me. He's had a bunch of directors. I had him late in his career. And I asked him his goals like I always do. I used to walk around with his binder. I'll ask you if you're a leader, what the hell is your binder? People used to call me the crazy guy with the binder, right? Had people's pictures in here, their goals, their paychecks, their family, everything. You think I'm a detective or a creep, one of the two. I'm not either. I'm just trying to push people to accomplish their goals, okay? Anyways, I got this guy's goals, and then every single month when I meet with him, the first thing I do is I go to his page and I read his goals. I'm like, did you propose to your girl yet? Because that was one of his goals. And then I started busting his balls about it because it became 4, 5, 6 months. I'm like, you're supposed to propose 3 months ago. What's going on? And he's like, honestly, man, I appreciate you because I've had directors ask me for my goals, a bunch of my leaders. No leader has ever went back to them. And I want you guys to think about that. Where somebody asks you your goals, but then they never mention it to you again at the end of the year. It's like, are you just doing it as a leader to check it off a list? You should know my goals after working with me for 7, 8, 9 months, right? So I ended up making him stuff the ring and the turkey and Thanksgiving and propose to her. The worst proposal ever, but he did it. And like, that's a story that we remember forever, right? He tells me like, I proposed because you kept bothering me about it. So I say that to you guys because it's one thing to write down your goals, but all right, so most people don't write them down, and the people that do write them down do it one time for an activity, never go back to them. There's another level of reading them to yourself every single day. Even having Siri read them to you every single day. Kind of like this, if you guys know this hack. You go to your goals, you put your 2 fingers like this, and you swipe down.
Gratitude, I am grateful for my health, I am grateful.
And then Siri starts reading to you whatever you have on your screen. So sometimes when I'm running or I'm working out, I just have Siri read me my goals. But at the same time, I'm still priming my mind with my goals, and I'm memorizing them at the end. So that's one thing, keep going to them every single day. The second thing is I have a picture of a ladder, because you got to break them down into steps. So what I like to do is, if you want to save $100,000, obviously it's $25,000 a quarter, so you're going to break it down by quarters. Then you're going to break it down into 3 months inside the quarter. In January this much, in February this much, in March this much. But then there's another level. In January I'm going to market this much. I'm going to close this much. My conversion is going to be this much. I'm going to do this training. In February I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And then there's going back and reevaluating. At the end of January I did a little more. Maybe I could push that to 120, or maybe I did a little less. Maybe I gotta amp up February and change that. So my goals, I change every single month. I adjust them as I go. And that's a whole nother level, because now you're looking at it like a business plan. Why would we do that for a business plan, right? Go back to our business goals, but we don't do that for ourselves and our own goals. We are a business. Your body's a business. Your finances are a business. Your life's a business, right? In some sense. So I say break it down into steps, quarter, then break those steps into actions, and then break those actions into deadlines. Read them every day and reevaluate every single month. And then you get to gratitude. One thing that really helps me is go into the darkness to find the light. Like, I want to constantly remind myself of my darkest moments to know how truly humbled and blessed I am to be in this moment right here with you guys. There was moments where this call had no people. And there was moments where I didn't have an academy. And there was moments where I was in my parents' basement. And there was moments where I was renting, you know, like, there's been a lot of different moments in my life. There was moments where my jaw was wired shut and I couldn't eat for, 3-4 months. There was moments where family members were sick. Those moments right there. There was a moment where my son had such a bad fever, he went unconscious. I never felt that scared in my life. I'll never forget that feeling. So when I think about those moments, do you think a small little moment or a small little argument or a small little hiccup or a parking ticket? No, it's stainless steel. It's just going to keep bouncing right off, right? Nothing's going to get through to me because I know where I've been and I know where I am. So I think that's going to be huge in 2023 as well. And then getting to the letter to yourself, Lang. I am going to read the letter out loud, even though it does have some personal stuff in there. I think great leaders should be vulnerable. So I'm going to read you guys a piece of my letter. I'm not done yet. I'm kind of still drafting it. But I did get emotional writing it because it's an emotional letter. It's me talking to myself about my own journey while squashing the objections, the flaws in my life, and then priming my mind that I'm successful. Same thing we do with clients. Priming their mind, this is a loan, this is a loan. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. Don't worry about the rate. Don't worry about the rate. Don't worry about the rate. Squashing the objection. Don't worry about your wife. Don't worry about your wife. Don't worry. She's going to love it. She's going to love it. Squashing the objection. So squashing my flaws and connecting to my purpose. And as I read this to you, I want you to see if you could create something like this for yourself and be in a quiet area when you do it and take an hour or two and really get deep about it. And I guarantee you, if you make something like this, you could show it to your loved ones so they know exactly where your head's at and who you're trying to become. You could show it to your leaders, or you could keep it private for yourself. I will meet the best version of myself, and it's going to be a great conversation. I will look back and cry with tears of joy and emotion when I look at the roller coaster of a battle I have been through to get me where I am today and where I will be by the end of the year. It was me. I believed in myself. I believed in the vision. I knew my potential, and I knew I could not stop. I am extremely proud of you, Ace. You have succumbed to all the pressure against all odds and put yourself out there repeatedly, day after day. You made it, big fella. You really made it. You also tackled the last bear in your life. But guess what? That wasn't the last one. Get ready for the next one. They only get bigger and badder with time. But guess what? You do too, at a much larger rapid rate. Speaking of the end of the year, might as well give you a glimpse of what's happening in 2024. Your sleep schedule is on point, sleeping at around 10 p.m. with Eli and waking up at 5 a.m. like clockwork. Doing the same exact things you preached since day one that were game changers, like your morning ritual. You hit the gym, you do your cardio, you listen to an audiobook, you then meditate in the sauna, you read a book in the sauna while you're in there as well, so you're doing double the reading this year. You figured out a way to retain all the knowledge because you kept forgetting things in the book. You ordered a big whiteboard in the garage and you stare at that every single day while you work out to remember the main takeaways. You've been hitting the ice bath 5 times a week, cleaning it on the weekend, and getting it battered back up ready for war. Your ritual after your morning ritual is simply texting people you want to keep close to you in your web, doing your billing in Excel this time, helping out around the house and cleaning because you help out a lot now, and you work as a team with your wife, and you're present and loving every single second of your life. And when you get to your desk, you rib bastard because you stop being so dumb and munching at night, realizing it's just idiotic. You do all this hard work and then you ruin it for years and years. You have to show yourself that you could keep this good physique for the second third of your life. It's yours and the smoking has stopped. You realize it's not worth taking days away from Eli the lion, your sweet boy. What's more important? The nicotine or time with him? Take a bit of your own medicine and put them on a weight scale. Back to what I was saying. You make one piece of good content, you post that content, you prospect, you make sure the academy's on point, you check your orders as they're piling up with the whole team helping you, and you launch your day into success. What does that look like? Sales coaching, leadership coaching, mindset coaching, life coaching, groups, individuals, and stages worldwide. What else does success look like, you may ask? Well, it looks like you got the contract you always wanted with Rocket, finally a chance to earn up to $1 million a year doing what you love, spreading new work across the whole organization. It also looks like seminars with a lot of people and an academy full of professionals showing up and hiking off the plays you call. Your accountability coaches work with you to keep your clients in balance. People only pay the big bucks to see you one-on-one now, and they've been paying it. Full-time camera crew stays with you, and you're loving every second of the journey. Your YouTube series has launched, and you have put together a full team, putting videos together of your life and your coaching, and everyone loves them and they're watching. Social media's blowing up. It's about goddamn time. You built a process and a system for the stage and your mind, body, and soul spa. They're both up and running and you go there because it's a part of your life. You get to enjoy the parties at the nightlife and host this business with your wife and loved ones and friends. Then you get to enjoy the spa you opened up, signing up corporate clients, making it entertaining on social media, blowing it up like you coach people to blow up their businesses daily. You're still building your real estate portfolio, by the way. 2 more houses which were great investments and an Airbnb that you get to use, rent, and let it pay itself off. You always wanted 2 full furnished homes. Now you got 2 homes, you just got to work on the second wardrobe. But you got this, you always do. Family is still number 1. I mean, not so many friends anymore. Friends are friends, but if you could find people bigger than you and better than you, but if you can't find people bigger than you and better than you, you have to learn to surround yourself with yourself and challenge yourself like a crazy man. You're always taking care of your family and loved ones and growing and having a blast with Eli and Marina, documenting the journey with Eli, and taking your best friend in love down the journey with you. She is smarter than most and she only pushed you to do better. And she's the reason I'm talking to you in this letter, so treat her good, idiot. Stop being a machine. Stop going up and down. You can do it all. You are doing it all. So keep doing it all. Traveling is now part of the journey, and all the loved ones come with us. Mom, dad, brothers, sisters, nieces, nephews, uncles, aunts, and cousins. Everyone is taken care of. Because the more you give, the better you do. You are a hero, and you'll be remembered as one. Continue becoming the best version of yourself and raising that version daily. The only question I have for you now is, and that was my letter. And then I went down to the bullets and the things I want to accomplish. But I think that letter there, it's one thing to write it and read it, but imagine me reading it for 30, 60, 90, 100 days. Like, imagine what that does to me. Subconsciously right now, it's changing me for the better. And I think if you could make a letter like that for yourself and then read that letter every single day, subconsciously, it's going to change you for the better. And I'm not going to go back to my goals last year and the year before, but I swear to you, every single year, 95% of the list is accomplished. Usually early on. And I'm sure it's the same for you. So these things work. The last thing I'm going to leave you guys with is literally how you feel. And this is something I've learned over this last year that I've really just held near and dear to my heart. How you feel. It's about when you wake up and you don't feel like doing it, it's how you feel. When you're like, it's not the best month ever, it's how you feel. Anytime you get negative or get weak, it literally has to be how you feel. And if you build a process that works, like your morning ritual and your schedule, then it's not about your feelings and your emotion anymore, right? It's not about how I feel when I answer the call. It's how I feel. I know what I got to do to make this client feel good. I know what I got to do to dig deep with this client. I know what I got to do to get me closer to my goals. It's not if I feel like working out or going in that ice bath and getting the shock and being freezing every morning. It's this is what I have to do. I know what it does for me. It's already part of the process in the system. I trust in the process. I don't trust in my feelings or my emotions. And the biggest difference between successful people and unsuccessful is successful people do things when they don't feel like it. And unsuccessful people only do things when they feel great. Look, it's easy to come here and motivate you guys when things is going great in my life. But to tell you the truth, if I was in my parents' basement, if I had a small ass house, if I had no car and I was Ubering rides, I would still be here motivating you guys because it wouldn't change who I am and what I believe and what the process is. But because of this thought process, I believe that's what brought me here today to talk to you. So the last thing I'll leave you guys with, how you feel. Create a system and a process that works. And it's not about your feelings anymore. It's just about doing that thing every single day. When you feel good, when you don't feel good, when you want to do it, when you don't want to do it, you're just going to do it. And that's it. And that becomes a thing every single day. So just to recap, we went over a couple of keys for 2023. Your morning rituals and your habits. Replacing goals with habits. Number 2, your goals and breaking them down into ladders. And accountability for yourself every single month and reevaluating. Number 3, gratitude. Finding the darkness within to find the light without. Number 4, have your future self write a letter to yourself right now at the end of 2023. How'd that year go for you? What exactly did you want out of that year? What flaws did you fix? What things did you make it through? And how does it look in 2024 for you? Because that letter, the goal is in 2024, you read it and you're like, I can't believe this is actually happening. Everything in this letter is here. And that feeling right there, I guarantee you guys, is priceless. And number 5, my favorite, how you feel. So that's what I got for you guys today. I know we got about 9 minutes. If anyone has any questions on this, or sales, or leadership, or anything, I'll give it an open floor for anybody out there.
You still do the miracle morning stuff?
Yeah, the miracle morning, I did it today.
You do that? Is that what you do every day?